It's time to reevaluate your beliefs, especially for those born under the auspices of Taurus. Much of what was considered immutable is about to be disproved, because on the horizon appears on the 13th sign of the zodiac, Serpentine. This is not just an astrological abstraction or mystical concept, but a very real, tangible breakthrough that opens up to those who are ready to assert their rights and take what is rightfully theirs. With this influence come new, hitherto unseen opportunities, love, purified from the shackles of dependence, financial well-being, gained without humiliating compromises, freedom, unmarred by fear of the unknown, and, finally, true recognition, free from false compliments and hypocritical praise. All that the representatives of this sign once only dreamed of, but heard in response, not now, not yet the time, now becomes not just available, and literally their property. What once seemed totally unattainable is now at their feet. This is the time when new boundaries of their perception are formed, unprecedented horizons of possibilities open up, and their true, unadulterated truth is revealed in its entirety. Taurus no longer has to prove their worth or justify their desires to anyone, the cosmic forces seem to be fully on their side. It is now that the first seal of truth is being broken, revealing the true nature of things. Love, it turns out, is not a one-sided game where only one partner puts in the effort, nor is it a trivial transaction where presence is exchanged for approval or fake tenderness. Deep transformations await in the realm of personal relationships, and this will be especially true on July 4th, when Venus, the ruling planet of Taurus, enters a precise conjunction with unpredictable Uranus, right in the sign of Taurus. If anyone in this sign is still holding on to the outdated principle, as long as he or she is around, they will not only be shown the harsh truth, they will be literally stunned by it. The powerful and destructive energy of Uranus can knock them out of their usual, comfortable script, forcing them to reconsider all of their previous attitudes. From now on, love will no longer be synonymous with the fear of losing a loved one. It will be transformed into an unshakable confidence that your partner chooses you not out of need or convenience, but because he sees you as an unconditional value. This is not just a personal epiphany, but part of the great revelation of the Aquarius era, enhanced by the pervasive influence of the Serpentine, and it all happens in the 5th house of the Taurus horoscope, the home of personal pleasure, sincere feelings and genuine attraction. Here, in this renewed space, there will be no more room for pretense or falsity. If the relationship is suddenly calm, it is not a harbinger of an impending storm, as you might think. On the contrary, it is a sure sign that finally met a person with whom you can just keep silent, and this silence will be filled with sincerity and comfort, not anxious waiting or awkwardness. From July 2nd to July 6th, and then again from July 10th to July 20th, exceptionally favorable time windows open up for forming new connections. These can be romantic relationships that are fresh and inspiring, completely free of the old, sticky emotional dependencies that previously held you back. On these special days, it is crucial to listen carefully to your body, using it as a reliable truth gauge. If you feel uncomfortable in a communication or new situation, even if the words sound beautiful and convincing, it's a sure sign that the communication or situation is not meant for you. But if your body responds with a sense of calm and peace, don't miss this opportunity, for it can lead to something truly amazing. However, do not rashly assume that further events will unfold without its active participation or effort. The 6th house, known as the House of Karma, will be active throughout July, with particular intensity on the 7th, 13th, and 19th. These particular days will be critical moments when any actions dictated by irritation, desire for revenge or ostentatious resentment will turn out to have full and tangible consequences. Just one incorrectly uttered phrase can lead to the loss of not just meaningful connections, but all that valuable that was given to him as a tool to correct the mistakes of the past. Fate will subject him to the deepest test. Will he be able to keep his composure and not drop his dignity? If Taurus will withstand this test, he will be able to retain his achievements. It is noteworthy that for a representative of the sign of Taurus has always been difficult to reconcile with betrayal. In the current period, the celestial luminaries give him a unique chance to free himself from the burden of this feeling, but only on the condition that he himself will not become the source of such treachery. The second seal, directly related to the sphere of finance, is now open. But these opportunities are not for those who cling stubbornly to outdated ideas, to so-called stability, which in fact turns out to be nothing but poverty and stagnation. On July 6, Venus in sextile to Neptune sheds light on hidden aspects and demonstrates that true financial success is not the result of random chance, it is a consequence of an activated first house, representing the individual and his or her potential. Taurus itself is naturally endowed with the ability not just to accumulate material wealth, but to actively create something new. Nevertheless, while he mistakenly believed that his entire financial horizon is limited only by the framework of wages, the surrounding reality accumulated its claims to him. Indeed, an existence solely on a single paycheck does not always seem comfortable and sufficient. Now, in essence, in the age of Aquarius, powerfully activated through the power of the serpent, four key potentials come to the fore, which serve to distinguish this person from others or from his former, less developed self. The first of the significant potentials inherent in the individual is manifested in his exceptional instinct for true worth. He is able to recognize unmistakably where there is a genuine product and where something useless is hidden, even if the outer wrapper actively tries to convince the contrary. The second potential lies in a great deal of stamina. Such an individual demonstrates the ability to work fruitfully for a significant period of time, bringing the initiated projects to their logical conclusion even when many others have already lost motivation and strength. The third important characteristic is reputational fortitude. Those around him trust him because he does not limit himself to mere promises, but always proceeds to concrete actions. Finally, the fourth potential is associated with an innate, almost tangible connection to the material world. The person literally feels where the necessary resources are hidden and has the ability to use them rationally and effectively. With the activation of the so-called second house, the individual finally gives up the compromise principle of as good as it gets in favor of genuine improvement. From July 7th to July 9th, and then from July 15th to July 18th, he will have a genuine opportunity to reject anything that does not match his aspirations and concentrate his efforts on those endeavors that promise real returns. It is important to remember the key rule: do not seek to please anyone. Financial prosperity comes to those who independently determine to whom and what to direct their energy, and not to those who beg for recognition in exchange for their loyalty. It is in these days that a person will feel something special, the realization that the ability to pay for high quality is a real pleasure, because he has this ability, and he becomes completely indifferent to who and what he thinks about it. His reaction to what is happening will reflect a new, high level, no ostentatious bravado, no emotional outbursts, just absolute calm and unwavering confidence. From now on, he ceases to live according to externally imposed standards. He no longer has to prove his independence, but instead has to actively use and benefit from it. The seventh house is currently being activated, which symbolizes the area of accumulation of habits, as well as the very passive income, which many people talk about, but few have really mastered. For the subject in question, there comes a period of fine-tuning, when it becomes obvious on which days it is advisable to reduce expenditures, and on which days to make more significant investments. The 11th, 14th, 22nd and 25th are considered particularly favorable days for starting the accumulation processes. This does not mean a call to immediately buy stocks or open a bank account. Rather, it indicates that any well-considered and balanced decision made on these dates begins to work for the long term. Even an insignificant amount of money put aside not under the influence of momentary emotions, but in a state of full awareness, can give a powerful impetus. However, the period from July 17th to July 19th is not suitable for risky ventures or loans. A person's financial foundation is not built on blind faith in miracles or luck, but on a deep respect for the fundamental laws of finance and, no less importantly, for oneself. Whereas previously the accumulation of funds was driven by a sense of fear of the future, this process is now driven by inner strength and an understanding of the opportunities that lie ahead. This is what represents a new model of wealth attainment for Taurus. The two subsequent seals or key concepts are directly related. Refusal to accept them means fixation in the old life scenario, where Taurus, striving to maintain external calm, has to tolerate other people's insolence, compromises with his conscience and honor, smiles politely, pretending that all is well. However, under current conditions, this approach no longer works. If a person sincerely wants to enter the zone of benefits and opportunities associated with the serpent, he must forever exclude the word tolerate from his vocabulary and worldview. The third seal represents personal boundaries. On July 7, Venus in Gemini forms a favorable trine with Pluto in Aquarius. This astrological aspect not only creates a harmonious configuration, but also poses a serious challenge to the individual. Either he clearly and concisely formulates his positions, or he risks being used again under the guise of something else. Representatives of the sign of Taurus, is especially important to realize that the time to be convenient for others has passed. Boundaries are not a manifestation of aggression, on the contrary, they serve as an effective filtering system that protects personal space and interests. A person does not have to give reasons why he or she does not want to communicate, why he or she refuses a request, why he or she does not accept nonsense passed off as compromise, or why he or she does not maintain relationships with inadequate individuals. Standards are only set once. If someone takes a disparaging tone in communication, there is no need to respond, simply end the interaction. If a lie is told, there is no need to verify its veracity, it is much more effective to cut off communication and not listen. If demands are made, there is no need to make excuses, it is important to put a firm stop to it. Pluto's influence will not allow a person to remain a defenseless target. He will have to either openly declare his position or lose control even over his own personal life. This will be especially intense during July 6 through July 8 and July 13 through July 15. During these days, people around you will, albeit unconsciously, test a person for strength, intuitively looking for his vulnerabilities. They may exert pressure, resort to manipulation, or play the role of the offended. It is extremely important not to give in to these provocations. If you show weakness, the desired benefits will not be received. Instead, the person will only continue the same negative scenarios, but in a new wrapper. The fourth seal is said to symbolize freedom. On July 18, as the moon enters Taurus, this sign will experience the full range of emotions, from deep irritation to rejection of places, people, and roles where they can no longer pretend. This state can be so acute that will cause physical ailment. Such a phenomenon is due to the activation of the ninth house, which in astrology is the house of personal philosophy and expanding the horizons of truth. If Taurus is uncomfortable at his current place of employment, this does not indicate a difficult period in general, but rather that he has simply outgrown that environment. When other people's advice on how one's life should be lived begins to cause tension, it is not a manifestation of caprice, but a natural defense of one's unique picture of the world. Everything that is not truly their own for Taurus will cause rejection, and this is absolutely right. Until the end of July, for representatives of this sign, there are only two ways, either to free themselves from other people's expectations, or suffocate under their oppression. Other options are not expected. Particular attention should be paid to specific dates. Taurus women in the period from July 20 to July 23, the stars offer a unique chance to get out of the zone of lies and gossip. Their reputation is likely to straighten out if they don't make excuses, but focus on tacitly doing their jobs. July 24 and 25 will be critical for Taurus men. One rash act, done for fun or on the week, can lead to collective dislike. The moon during this period will endow Taurus with a powerful intuition, which is extremely important not to be drowned out by logical arguments. Freedom now is not just an empty slogan, but a resolute refusal to participate in other people's scenarios. If Taurus seeks the benefits of serpentine, it needs to stop pretending that absolutely everything suits it. Everything does not suit Taurus, only what is his own, what is truly his own, suits Taurus. What has been revealed is said to be the most significant, the fifth seal of truth, the state of mental balance. Many people strive for material wealth, social status, and personal freedom, but often overlook a key aspect, their own mental well-being. This is a serious omission. In the age of Aquarius, it is no longer just one of the components of life balance, becoming a kind of independent value or even currency. If in the previous era of Pisces inner harmony was often associated with suffering, which was seen as a path to a higher meaning, the current realities have changed dramatically. Nowadays, experiencing suffering is not only not considered acceptable, but also becomes extremely costly. Accordingly, either one's inner world is in harmony, or neglecting it inevitably leads to complete stagnation in the personal sphere. Thus, on July 23, when Venus sextiles Mars, this event appears not as a harbinger of romantic aspirations, but as a timely and overdue test of inner maturity. This activates the 12th astrological house, traditionally associated with deep inner processes, general mental state, and subconscious programs. If there is still chaos in the mind, manifested in sharp mood swings, as well as in constant doubts like, what if, or regrets like, for nothing, then further progress becomes impossible. Energy flow slows down not because of the unfavorable location of the celestial luminaries, but because of self-sabotage, which a person unconsciously arranges himself. In such periods an individual turns into his main opponent and obstacle. The sign of Taurus, for example, often demonstrates external stability and steadfastness, while inside can hide a deep disorder, which, according to its representatives, should remain a mystery to others. However, in the coming age of Aquarius, such internal disharmony is no longer subject to concealment. Mental and mental well-being now functions like a final filter, either a person has a clear internal setting and confidently moves forward, or it is thrown back, in the abyss of old resentments, guilt and endless, but fruitless self-examination. Achieving inner balance is quite possible without consulting professional psychologists or mastering esoteric practices that require reading mantras. The key lies in simply eliminating excessive mental noise. This means stopping the endless analysis of other people's statements and refusing to cycle through past events that no longer have any real impact on the present. Fundamental activities such as sleeping, eating, and breathing themselves should not be seen as distractions, but as true sources of recovery and energetic nourishment. A person does not have to be in a state of supreme tone at all times for life to continue to unfold. Sometimes, a conscious pause or stop in movement is not a manifestation of weakness, but a well thought out and effective strategy. If there have been situations in the past where mistakes have been made, it is important to learn to let them go. It is noted that individuals born under the sign of Taurus often tend to hold on to their own blunders much longer than betrayals by others, but this approach is no longer useful today. It is time to show yourself not so much self-indulgence, but a sober and objective view. Fundamental truths such as, things take their own course. It has happened, and there is no need to carry it around with you all the time. Thus, if the reader has reached this point in the text, he is to be congratulated. He is almost 100% of the way to achieving his goal. All that remains to be revealed is the aspect that will finally set in motion the entire mechanism of transformation, that is career growth and the emergence of new perspectives. Without the integration of this critical component, all other work on oneself risks remaining at the level of understood but not acted upon. The sixth seal is mentioned, symbolizing career success. On July 28, a significant astrological event will occur, Venus in Gemini sextiles Chiron in Aries. This marks a critical moment when you need to stop hiding behind the "I'm not ready" excuse. In the current era of Aquarius, enhanced by the influence of the serpent, there is no more time for slow rocking. The choice is clear, either one completely rebuilds oneself, or continues to exist with little or no return. Chiron's aspect is designed to expose long-standing vulnerabilities, moments when the individual has remained silent, though he should have asserted himself, situations where he has settled for less, justifying it with an imagined crisis, or instances where he has devalued his own abilities by obeying the rules of a system that is essentially indifferent to his personal interests. If the mindset of, "I just want a job where I won't be touched," still dominates, it means that the person remains a prisoner of the past. Taurus has a unique ability not just to fulfill assignments, but to form stable, durable results, which are extremely difficult to replace. It is in Taurus reliability, thoroughness, and unwavering persistence that its true power lies. And now it is these qualities that contribute to the restoration of lost elements of his career path. The period from July 25 to July 30 is an optimal time to send resumes to those organizations that previously seemed unattainable or too ambitious. He is strongly encouraged to actively make himself known in a team, even if he is introverted by nature and does not feel an inner desire for active publicity. For those who are for hire or work in stable corporate structures, it is especially important not to remain in the shadows. Silence in July is tantamount to invisibility, and invisibility, in turn, can turn into an unexpected termination of cooperation without explanation. On the contrary, the demonstration of their abilities, even within the framework of one significant decision, promises financial gain and career advancement. If Taurus wants to take a different position or get out of a zone where his input is constantly ignored, he should take the initiative from July 26 to July 29. His knowledge should no longer benefit those who are unable to appreciate it. This is the time of the seventh seal, new, unprecedented opportunities. Venus, the planet that patronizes Taurus, transits his sign all month, from June 29 to July 26. This astrological transit is not just a routine movement of celestial bodies, but a true, green corridor, that opens the way for profound transformation. During this period, Taurus is transformed from the image of a calm and predictable employee to a powerful, strategically thinking personality, capable of even causing some apprehension in others. He is no longer perceived as an exceptionally convenient partner, as he suddenly becomes someone who cannot be swayed by other people's opinions, or external pressure, or even attempts to cause shame. This is a facet of his character that those around him have not seen before. What do the stars give a person, if he strictly follows his vector, predestined by the universe itself? It should be realized that this is, first of all, the ability to bypass undesirable consequences in situations where others inevitably face difficulties, and he is unknown how to get away with everything. It is also a reliable protection from those who secretly seek to undermine his position. All the hidden intrigues and behind-the-scenes machinations suddenly come to light, turning out not in favor of the initiators. Among other things, the individual gains the ability to firmly defend his reputation, sometimes even harshly, without the slightest apology or justification, with full moral authority to declare, this behavior is unacceptable. And, finally, it is undoubted luck in risky ventures. If before it was necessary to think over every decision 10 times, now it is enough only once to listen to the inner gut. If intuition suggests, you should act. The presence of Venus in the sign of Taurus completely eradicates fear, but only in those who are honest with themselves. Such representatives of the sign of Taurus before, it seemed, no one has ever met. This is a true change, for man is no longer a passive observer or eternal waiting. He actively acts, makes his choice, resolutely refuses, and thanks to all this succeeds. He is admired by some, feared by others, and the number of the latter will grow. And he simply finally embodies the person he was always meant to be. For those who are not yet familiar with the concept of the serpentine, it is necessary to give some explanations. For more than 2 millennia, the Sun has traditionally traveled through 12 sectors of the zodiac, each occupying approximately 30 degrees. This order was dictated by the age of Pisces. Throughout this vast period of time, the real possibilities, which did not fit into the generally accepted system, remained hidden from the general public. During this period an additional 30 days have accumulated in the ecliptic, which just correspond to these degrees. It is in this space and enters the 13th zodiacal sign, Serpenter. And already in November this year Jupiter will officially enter it. The current changes are not a chaotic disruption, but a legitimate transition. Regardless of personal preference or belief system, the age of Aquarius is not just an abstract concept, but is being established as a tangible astrological reality. This global shift entails the emergence of new characteristics and qualities for all zodiacal signs. Consequently, a transformation of time periods, fundamental traits inherent in the signs, their attributes and spheres of influence is expected. As an example, we can take the sign of Taurus, for which the future auspicious period is defined by the time window from May 13 to June 21. However, it is extremely important to refrain from hasty independent actions, such as attempts to assign new zodiacal affiliations, take on unrelated roles, or try to adapt to dates that have not yet been set. A comprehensive explanation will be provided as to how these changes work and how to maintain what is rightfully each individual's within their true astrological position.